He said and cut the call and put it inside and sighed heavily and smiled lightly and again started working. When he came back home, he was welcomed by his wife and smell of delicious foods. He knew whenever he tell her to make anything for dinner, she always make one of his favorite dish. He smiled a little and then went to his room to freshen up. After freshening up, he came downstairs and started to do his dinner with his wife. It was so delicious food, he wanted to compliment her, but he was not able to find any word. Or because of his cold nature, he never complimented her before, and not even now. Time skip. Next day. It's Jungkook's off day, and he is home, and is sitting in living room scrolling through his phone when Ryan came and called him, and he looked at her. She said making puppy eyes, and he sighed and said okay. She jumped in excitement, and he chuckled internally at her cuteness, and then she said, and went towards kitchen. And after that, he selected the movie and they both watched the movie together. Next day, when Jungkook was in his office and Ryan was alone at home reading books, someone came, and when she looked at the person, he turns out to be her friend, Jimin. She smiled happily and hugged him, and he hugged her back, and they started to talk with each other. Jungkook and Ryan's marriage were arranged, and it's been 4 months since their marriage. But Jungkook is still cold towards Ryan. Sometimes Ryan thinks that Jungkook loves someone else, but again, she thought that it's just her imagination. Maybe he don't love anyone. She wants to make him fall for her. After that, they both start to talk about random stuff. Jimin works under Jungkook in Jungkook's company, and they both are best friends too. And Jungkook was about to enter in Jimin's cabin when he heard him talking to someone. Door was open a little. When Jungkook heard Ryan's name, he stopped and started to eavesdrop his concern. Jungkook was not able to process what he just heard. His young really love his wife? Why is her act so much after hearing this? Isn't it because he loves her? Or it's just because she is his wife? That's why he is feeling like this? These are the thoughts that came in his mind. He didn't enter in Jimin's cabin but went straight to his office. And again started thinking about what he just heard. He was not able to concentrate on work. After a while, in whole meeting, Jungkook was not paying attention. He was just in his world. He was in his thoughts which didn't went unnoticed by Namjoon and Suga. After meeting, Suga asked Jungkook, Suga interrupted his sentence. He said, smiling, and then they both left, leaving Jungkook alone in meeting room. Jungkook was again thinking about Ryan, and then he decided to go home early, and he went home early today. When he came home, he didn't see Ryan in the living room and didn't welcome him like she used to welcome him, forgetting about the fact that he came early today. When he didn't see her, Jimin's word came in his mind. I will take her out at dinner today. He shook his head and started to call her name. He called her name while checking her in living room, in kitchen, and then went to room and saw her sitting there reading book. He sighed in relief and cleared his throat to gain her attention. She looked at him. She said, but whispered the last sentence and saw the time. And he chuckled at her and said, he said, not looking at her. He said, smiling lightly, and she nodded excitedly. And then she started to get ready, and he went to living room and started to wait for her. After getting ready, she came in living room, and when he saw her, he was just staring her, not wanting to take his eyes off. When she saw him looking at her continuously, she blushed and said, after that, they both went to dinner. Dinner went smoothly. Ryan was very happy because it was first time he complimented her and took her out for dinner. Now it's been days he starts to act sweet towards her, compliment her and watch movies with her in free time. Today he is thinking to tell her about his feelings. He said and closed his eyes tightly, but when he didn't get any response, he slowly opened his eyes and saw Ryan. Her eyes were wide and her mouth was open a little. She said, jumping in excitement, and he just chuckled. Time skip. Next day, Jimin is sitting with Jungkook and Ryan, talking with them. Jimin cut him off and said, with that, they both start to talk about random stuff.